Trump just accidentally humiliated India again, and this time he didn't even bother to hide it. Just yesterday, Donald Trump rolled out the red carpet in Alaska for none other than Vladimir Putin. Big smiles, warm handshakes, the kind of bromance photo op you'd expect from two men who love being seen as strongmen. But here's the kicker. Just days ago, Trump slammed India with 50% tariffs, crippling its already fragile economy. What was this punishment for? It was for buying Russian oil even though they're sanctioned. Yet while Modi is being punished like a naughty schoolboy, Putin gets a welcome party with cheerleaders and champagne. If hypocrisy was an Olympic sport, Trump would have just taken home the gold. Let's break down why this meeting matters and why Modi, once again, is left looking like the world's most desperate sidekick. First, the tariffs. Trump's tariff hammer came down on India in two brutal swings. 25% because India refuses to open its markets wider to American goods, and another 25% because India keeps buying Russian oil, even though Washington has repeatedly said, don't touch it. Now, for a country already drowning in trade deficits, a collapsing rupee, and sky-high unemployment, these tariffs are like salt poured directly into the wound. But here's the embarrassing part. The same Trump who told India to stop buying Russian oil literally shook hands with Putin the very next week. If you're Indian right now, you must be wondering, are we the punchline of the global joke? Why does Trump get to be buddy-buddy with Putin while we get sky-high tariffs? Let's not forget how Trump treated Modi earlier this year. Back in January, when Modi visited the U.S., there was no red carpet, no parade, no special friendship. Instead, it was business as usual, actually worse than business. Trump demanded that if Modi wanted to buy a few F-35s, he'd also have to take a basket of overpriced American oil and gas. Imagine going to a shop to buy a TV, and the seller forces you to also take a broken microwave, 3 rusty bicycles, and a doghouse you don't need, all at triple the price. That's exactly what Modi signed up for. And the cherry on top? Trump also made him agree to repatriate tens of thousands of undocumented Indian migrants. Reports even describe some of them being transported back, chained like cattle. So much for the proud world's largest democracy, more like the world's most humiliated democracy. And yet, Modi still keeps begging for America's love. The desperation is almost comical. He dreams of India being treated like China, an equal, a rival power Washington must respect. But the reality? India is treated like a bargain bin ally, used when convenient and slapped around when it steps out of line. Trump knows Modi will keep crawling back because, let's be honest, what choice does India have? Its economy is too weak, its military too dependent on foreign tech, and its global image too fragile. Now let's talk about why the Alaska meeting stings so much. Trump meeting Putin on U.S. soil, Alaska no less, just across the Bering Strait from Russia, is a symbolic power move. It signals that Washington is willing to engage directly with Moscow, even after years of sanctions and tension. It's Trump playing the global chessboard, showing he can pick up the phone and get Putin to come over for coffee anytime. Meanwhile, India, it gets tariffs, conditions, and humiliation. For Modi, this is like watching your supposed best friend hang out with the guy he told you never to talk to. Hypocrisy doesn't even cover it. It's betrayal, plain and simple. Here's where the sarcasm kicks in. Maybe Modi should have tried harder. Maybe he should have brought Trump a bigger garland of flowers, or folded his hands even deeper, or offered to name a few Indian cities after Trump Towers. Who knows? Maybe then he would have gotten a warm welcome too. Instead, he walked away with hand-me-down military gear and a bill the size of India's GDP. The bigger issue here is geopolitics. By treating India this way, Washington risks pushing Delhi closer to Beijing. Think about it. India already relies heavily on Russian weapons. It keeps buying Russian oil despite U.S. threats, and now it sees that even America doesn't respect its sacrifices. At some point, Modi will have to ask himself, is being Washington's loyal punching bag really worth it? Or is it smarter to cut a deal with Beijing, where at least there's some respect for power? Because let's be honest, China doesn't need India, but it knows how to use India's insecurity to its advantage. And here's a brutal truth. India's dream of being a global power is constantly undermined by its weak economic base. Let's not sugarcoat it. With a GDP per capita that lags far behind even smaller Asian economies, a crumbling infrastructure, and unemployment numbers that make headlines for all the wrong reasons, India simply doesn't have the leverage. China can stand up to U.S. tariffs and even retaliate because it has the economic muscle. India, it just folds. Trump knows this, Putin knows this, and unfortunately, the whole world knows this. That's why the Alaska meeting is such a slap in the face. It's not just about Putin and Trump, it's about India watching from the sidelines, realizing it has no seat at the grown-ups table. Let's also remember that India thought it could play the middle power game. Cozy up to the US for tech and weapons, keep Russia happy with oil deals, and quietly try to balance China in the neighborhood. But balancing acts only work if you have strong legs, and India's legs are shaky at best. The US is making it clear, you can't play both sides. Pick one. But even after India tried to lean west, Washington still doesn't treat it as an equal. That's the humiliation Modi can't explain to his people. And here's the irony. Trump's meeting with Putin might actually make India's position worse. Why? Because it shows that Washington doesn't mind cutting deals with Moscow directly. Which means India is no longer the bridge between Russia and the West. It's just irrelevant. Modi's whole argument that India is an indispensable partner because it keeps ties with Russia falls apart the moment Trump can hug Putin in Alaska. So what does this mean moving forward? For India, more pressure, more tariffs, more demands, and fewer rewards. For the US, a chance to remind Modi that friendship isn't free, and loyalty won't shield you from punishment. For China, though, this is an opportunity. The more India feels humiliated by Washington, the more likely it is to reconsider its foreign policy. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but at some point, India will realize that chasing after US approval is like chasing after a bus that already left the station. Let's be clear, none of this makes Modi look strong. He can try all the speeches he wants about rising India and Vishwaguru nonsense. But when your country gets slapped with 50% tariffs while your supposed friend hugs the guy you're being punished for talking to, it's game over. The world sees the weakness, the world sees the hypocrisy, and the world laughs. So the Alaska meeting wasn't just a handshake between two leaders. It was a symbol of India's place in global politics. Outside the room, peeking through the window, begging to be let in. Trump played his game, Putin played his game, Modi, he just got played. And that's the sad and somewhat funny truth. If you found this breakdown helpful, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.